Hey everyone, welcome again. I always smile when I start these streams because I'm all, oh, like I was already in a good mood, but um yeah, I just you know this is awesome. The connection and communication and meeting new people and we all have this common you know we're healing from trauma, we're growing as people, we're dealing with what we're dealing with, and I really appreciate just the connection. Um, I'm sitting on my bed again tonight. That's why the computer's doing that. MJG's here. Awesome. MJG says, "Good morning, Luke," with the heart, and everyone here, of course, with a smiley face and the heart. That's awesome. Much love to you. Yeah, MJG's got the thumbs up. That's awesome. So, yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, there's always a lot going on in the world, and at the moment there's no shortage of that. So, I've had some progress this week with things, like I'm working on. Should hopefully be starting a self-employment assistance program in the next couple of weeks. I don't know yet. I've got to work that out, and that's going to help me with starting, launching my small business with the mindfulness and the ecotherapy and nature therapy stuff. And yeah, I'm right at the point now where I can focus again and I can think again. And it's been an ongoing thing with the trauma and just life difficulties, and overall things are getting better and better, and I can thank you all for that, for friendship and encouragement, all that stuff. So that should hopefully start soon, and so that entails helping me out with business planning and mentorship, and then support for like 9 months, and that helps me get the business started with the opportunity to keep it running after the assistance finishes. And I'm really confident that's going to work. And yeah, awesome. Go Fast is here. Good to see you. Go Fast. Go Fast says cheers. Awesome. So like, what I did this week, I finalized my garden plot at the community garden. So I've got I can start going down there and working on my veggie garden, veggie and herbs, which I'm really excited to do. And I went down there today and did the working bee, which was good. Did some pruning and some of the fruit trees. So that was cool. And then I'm going to try and go down there almost every day, and it'll be good fitness because I've got to dig up and till it, not the whole garden plot, but most of it. Give it some extra. I mean, the soil is pretty good, but it could do with some extra fertilizer and mulch, that sort of stuff. So I did. I was there last week. I measured up a lot, so you can sort of see. That's the shape of it. So it's like a trapezoidal shape. So these are chives that's already there. That's like a mulch, a compost bin. that's on the plot, so I can use that, and I can take everything out of that and add to it. And that's, I think, I don't even know yet. I think that's either turmeric or ginger. I can't tell until I dig a little bit up and see what it is. I might end up removing that completely and putting, because I've got plans for the whole thing, right? And so I measured it, and I put in the bearings for each, so I can get the square meterage, and then I've got the directions of everything, so I can work out this the sun path, and that helps a lot for planting vegetables and fruit. I'm not planting fruit, but vegetables and herbs. So it's in a really good position. So this is basically facing, this is like north, south, west, like that, west, east. So it's got a pretty good orientation as it is to just go by. And one thing I had troubles with is, yes, stake TP for peas. Good idea. Go fast. I'm going to do that. And I had an idea for something as well. I'll show you. I would build this. It's like an arbor trellis. And so they're like these will be 2 boxes. So I can store stuff in the boxes, and then have, like Rio that you use for concreting, use that for the structure. But I do like the idea for the TP. Maybe I can do the TP. I can put a TP down this end. This would be a good idea to put one there. And I was thinking about building the trellis bit down this end. But the idea about the sort of trellis thing is it gives me something to where is it? It gives me something to a place to like sit and work as well. So those boxes, I was thinking of basically using plastic boxes and then putting fine mesh like chicken wire around the boxes and rendering it with concrete, very thin layer of concrete, so they're solid. Yeah, and I could like sit on them, use them as tables, but we'll see. That's an option. And I started a list. Yeah, TP. I'm going to write that down. TP. I'm just drawing one. There you go. TP. Definitely. That's an awesome idea. And there's like bamboo that grows nearby. I'll have to go and collect some of that, and I can make it out of that. Yep. Go Fast says with a tiny tea table for tea inside the TP. I like that. I'm drawing a little tea table. There you go. Little tea table for the inside the TP. I love it. I'll do that for sure. That sounds like a brilliant idea. And I'm not drinking. I'm trying to stop drinking coffee too now, so I'll be drinking tea more often. So that's a brilliant idea. So awesome. I've got a list of like some of the plants. I did want to plant sunflowers, but I was told today that the corellas they'll take all your, if you plant sunflowers, they'll take everything. So, although I saw one the other day down there, and it was all these bees were in it, and it was awesome. So, but I guess what the corellas do, they fly past and they're like, they sort of sense when the sunflower's ready for them to eat, and then they just eat it. So I'm looking at chives, basil, parsley, thyme, oregano, rosemary, dill, lettuce, sunflowers. That's a question. Peas, lots of different types of peas, like snow peas, snap peas, and then beans as well. And then not too many vegetables, like zucchini and capsicum and chilies. And then maybe some Brussels sprouts and some cabbage. But I do like chilies, so I want to maybe plant a bunch of chilies, like maybe some banana chilies, habanero, and I think it's like a Thai style chili that they grow into these decent size trees, little trees that can last for a few years. But you only get these little tiny chilies on them, but that's fine. Like, it gets covered in them, and I've had success with that in the past. Rather than try and grow these smaller chili plants that have like bigger chilies that you might only get one season out of. I like the idea of something that's going to last a couple of years. So, and I've got all the medicinal herbs as well. I got seeds for chamomile, marshmallow, comfrey. What else? Did I say marshmallow? Yeah. Lavender, and the medicinal basil as well. Valerian. What else? Yeah, but I've got like, I think 10 different types of medicinal plants I want to plant there, and I can make medicinal tea with the herbs in the teepee, with the tea table on the teepee. So that's going to be cool. I look forward to that. So I've got like a seedling planter here, which I might start some stuff here and then take it down to the garden and plant it in. And then I might just try and do most of it down there. Oh yeah, spinach, lots of spinach. A couple of different types of spinach I want to grow. So that's going to be really exciting and get me exercising. And part of what I want to do with the business I'm sort of starting is integrate growing, doing horticulture therapy, which is, do mindfulness training, but also include that, so people can learn how to garden at the same time, and also, experience it, and combine that with like the mindfulness and other things. But I have to speak to them, because I'm not sure if I'm say you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to sell products from there. So I wouldn't be selling products, but I need to ask permission to, if I was to take clients there that I'm doing, mindfulness training, I can't take them there if I'm not allowed. So I've got to get permission first. I'm looking at doing a permaculture course, which will start at the end of the month. So at the moment, it's just securing funds for that, and that should go ahead. And that's like, it's like a 12-week course that teaches you pretty thoroughly. I've seen a lot of their material, like course material, enough to like know, and also their track record. They've done some amazing stuff. So I'm really interested in doing the course with them, and then really learning permaculture as a whole thing. I did. They have a free master. It's called Grounded Permaculture. If you want to look it up, and they're operating out of Australia. But they have a free masterclass where you can sign up and watch their. It's only a 1 hour thing, so it doesn't take long to do, and then it can inspire you to maybe learn permaculture, and then which is essentially being able to grow as much, the greatest amount of yield, but have it continually grow for you, this amount of effort. And it's beautiful. It looks beautiful too, because the permaculture gardens are just full of life. They're amazing. And so in the course, they talked about the 12 permaculture principles, which I wrote down. So it's like, observe and interact. Number 1. Number 2, catch and store energy. And that could be in all different forms. It could be water, it could be sunlight, it could be mulch in the form of nutrients. 3, obtain a yield. That's the whole point of what you're doing it for. You got to make sure you're actually getting something from it. Number 4, apply self-regulation and accept feedback. I really like that one, because, when you think about it, that's like any system that exists should apply self-regulation and accept feedback. I mean, if you're not doing that, then you're not really doing yourself a good service, because you can't learn and grow from things, and you can't, if you're not self-regulating, you can make mistakes that can be preventable. Number 5, use and value renewable resources and services. Again, another great thing. So these things can be applied to so many things. They're like principles, which you then can apply to whatever. So things that are renewable aren't necessarily energy in the form of electricity. You could have solar panels to power a pump. So if you've got aquaponics, you could run the pond off solar panels or something like that. But renewable also is things that, it could be how you fertilize. Produce no waste is number 6. That's a good one. And so with permaculture, a big thing is like chop and drop. So wherever you cut the plants and they fall on the, wherever you're pruning, you just let it drop on the ground, and it becomes part of it keeps the moisture in, and it then helps build the soil. So, you're not producing waste. You're not having to take stuff to the rubbish tip or anything like that. Number 7, design from patterns to details. That's a good one, because it's like, it's sort of like a top-down way of designing. So you can start with an idea and then work out the intricacies, and that's a way to design. Number 8, integrate rather than segregate. That's a really powerful one as well. So, in permaculture, rather than having plants in a row that are all one type, you plant everything all together, and you have it so that, one plant shades another plant, or one plant becomes the armature for another plant to grow up, or one plant, when you prune it and it lands on the ground, it creates the right soil environment for the next plant to grow. So it's integrating the different plants together is a big part of it. Number 9, use small and slow solutions. That's a good one. So, you're not putting all this energy into something, but you also understand that the solutions might take time. So something that might take time is fine if you're not putting all this energy into it. So it sort of it works out. Number 10, use and value diversity. That's a really good thing. If in permaculture you have all of this abundance of food and this so many different types of plants, and they're all going to flower and fruiting, or they're harvesting. You can harvest it at different times. So this gives you the option to because you've got so much different types of plants going on, it means that you can go out into your garden with a tray or a bucket or something and harvest a whole bunch of different stuff, and then you go back home and you've got food. You got all this food, and it's different every time because it's always got different foods that are harvestable. Some things you can harvest every day, other things you go back and you got to wait. Number 11, use edges and value the marginal. So, don't put everything in the center and then have this wasted space. There's so many things that could mean. And so a lot of these principles can carry across all different things. And finally, number 12, creatively use and respond to change. I like that one too. You can adapt by you can adapt to change and creatively use it. So rather than sort of seeing something as a challenge, like the challenge being change, actually use it as an opportunity. And so a good thing about all these principles is that they then become, life principles that you can use to navigate life. So, I'm looking forward to starting that course in a couple of weeks. And so hopefully that all happens. Basic Glitches here. Awesome. It says, how you going, by the way? Basic says, good day. Hope you're doing great, all of you. Glad to hear that, Luke. Unfortunately, I can't be here too much because I have a friend over, but we'll definitely look at this later. This seems interesting. I need to hear it all. Awesome. Yeah, that's it. Like, permaculture is something that it's got this modern stuff, but it's really like ancient, like humans used to grow food like this for most of history, and it all changed at a certain point. So it's sort of like reclaiming these old methods of integrating as much and growing as much as you can in a small area. But you also get redundancy with permaculture. So because you got so much growing, if you might have the same plant growing in different parts of the garden, so it might get a disease in one part of the garden, but it's not going to spread necessarily to the other ones. So, you got backups and redundancy. So there's a lot of really good things. And also maximizing this limited space too, because a lot of people don't have a lot of space. You might just have a balcony. You might have a small, very small yard at home, and it's this plot that I've like purchased for a year lease is it's decent. I mean, it's bigger than this room I'm in, but it's not that big, so it's manageable, but it's limited. So I want to try and get as much out of it as possible, and when you see permaculture gardens, like there's just 1 square meter has got like 50 plants, and they can all grow together. When you grow the same type of plant in a row, each plant can only be so far from the next one. Otherwise, they're fighting for resources. But with permaculture, when they're different species of plants, then you don't have that same thing as much. So you can really pack in more and more plants in a small area. And so, yeah, I'll be designing this garden that I'm building as a something that I might have for a few years, but I want to get it growing as quick as possible, but to continue at that sort of level for the time that I have it. If you've got a yard if it's a permanent place where you are, you can really put a lot more in. And it basically says, yeah, so I wish you luck and love to you sorry. So I wish you luck and love to you all in case I'll not go back. But seriously, this is interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Basic Glitch, and enjoy hanging out with your friend tonight. And yeah, you can just watch the replay, and I'll hopefully get around to the chess matches next weekend. I have been working on that, but I'm just sort of catching up on things, and I'm just getting there. So don't worry, it's still on the cards. We still want to do that. So what else? The title I made for the video was making progress with the not-for-profit. So this year I'm launching my mindfulness training small business with the nature therapy element, taking people walking and doing other ecotherapy things like gardening and art therapy in nature and that sort of stuff. So it's getting closer to the point where I'm ready to launch it and start advertising to get clients. I've gone through the training period of as a trainer with my initial graduates, I guess, or students, which have been really really fulfilling, and I'm ready for the next stage now. And so that will be really exciting. So I've got a lot of work to do now, but alongside that, the long-term goal will be to keep working on this not-for-profit charity that is it's really just like an organization that does work giving people a place in nature to heal and to learn some new things, get things sorted out so that they can process some major difficulties in their life. And I've talked about it before in streams, and as we get closer to launching a website and all that stuff, we're going to talk about it a lot more. And that's really exciting, but it is a lifelong, long-term project. And so there was some good things today. Had like a meeting with my partner and some old friends, a lovely elderly couple that have both worked in humanitarian sort of work and One of them set up a women's refuge. As she set up several of them actually, and she ran programs in women's health, mental health, and well-being. And she had some great ideas. They both did, and we're really excited about that, and that's going to hopefully continue. We're going to continue our conversation with them. They might even come on board as sponsors, helping us in the initial startup of the organization, because it's going to cost us a lot of money initially before we can even get funding. So yeah, that's one thing will be that is to have foundational sponsors that donate some money to help us pay for the paperwork submission to get the organization registered. And I'm going to put on a benefit afternoon tea function, probably at home here with people that I know. Invite as many people as I can, and say, look, you're helping out starting this not-for-profit, and it's for a good cause. So I'll put on food and some entertainment and maybe some raffles, and people can just mingle and chat, and we can talk about the not-for-profit, and all the proceeds then go towards the paperwork, which is $2,000 to $3,000, which we've got to come up with by the end of the year, sort of thing, later in the year. And my friends in North Queensland, they're really excited to be part of the project. Hopefully they become board members. They're going to do a raffle at a services club, and maybe put on a night where they have a couple of raffles, and people buy tickets to the raffle, and all the proceeds go to the foundation, the not-for-profit. So a combination of those three things, sponsors that will give us a little bit of money to help us start, and they'll be recognized as the original patrons that helped us. People come to a benefit lunch I put on, and then my friends in the North Queensland do a raffle night. So hopefully between those three things, we'll get enough money to pay the $2,000 to $3,000 to get it started. All the way absurd here. Awesome. So glad you're here. How you going? Like, it must be in the middle of the night for you. Must be like wee hours of the morning. But yeah, so glad you're here. So all the way absurd says, Luke, good to see you. Good to see you too. So yeah, we're excited about these progressing with the not-for-profit, and just acknowledging constructive feedback that we got today. Just of how grand a plan it is, and how long it's going to take to get to where we want to go, how much work's involved, how serious we are about it's not a simple thing, and it's going to take a lot of work, but it's like what we've chosen to do, and it's going to be our lifelong project, and it's just going to keep growing. And we got a lot of support here in the community here, and it's for us all. Essentially, it's it's like intensive trauma healing is so expensive. It's out of the reach of most people. They can't afford it. And there's so many different methods. And so if we can provide a place that gives intensive trauma healing and respite to people, gives them a place to be, we can really help people get back on track and find what they want to do in life. It could be a thing that they need a change, do something different, do something new, and that can be a big part of trauma healing. So you not only you can go through the processes of processing trauma and strengthening and creating resilience, but also creating new opportunities through learning new skills. So one of the big things that would want to implement in stage 2, stage 3 of the project will be have for people to get qualifications that can help them change careers, start something different. And it could be working in a kitchen, getting food handling safety certificate. So someone could come spend a month or two doing trauma healing, and while they're there, they're learning some skills, learning how to make food, care for animals, work on a farm, but they're also working in the kitchen and they're learning food safety and food handling, and then they get a certificate, and then when they leave, they can start a little coffee shop or a restaurant or something, something that's associated, or they could just work in someone else's coffee shop or restaurant. And that extends to a whole bunch of different attainable skills that don't require large amounts of infrastructure to go through the training process. That can be like an additional thing. And even if the person doesn't necessarily use those, it can just help them become more employable. So we've got so many ideas for revenue streams to help pay for the operation of these sanctuaries, these trauma healing places. So the first one would just have like chickens and seedling nursery. They'll be the two main things. And then we might collect old furniture, timber furniture, and clean it up and fix it up, and then sell it or donate the furniture to people. So like there could be people that come to the first one will be very small, and we rent a place, and we can only take 5 people at a time, and they can only stay for a few days to a couple of weeks. And then the second one, will expand. Hopefully we'll have a property and we can have a bunch of cabins. Everyone gets their own cabin, and then we can start integrating more trauma healing. In the first one, it's more so just like giving people respite and getting social workers to help with people if they're going through their life change. Then on the the second and third stage will be where it's really happening. So there's lots of opportunities for revenue streams. So at the second and third stage, so in the first one, we can sell chicken eggs. We might get a contract with a local restaurant where we supply eggs to the restaurant, and so we can have a steady supply. It's going to make lots of money, but it gives people something to do. They can look after the animals, and they can see that the time they spend there is helping to pay for the actual operation. It pays the bills, that sort of thing. And they feel like they're contributing, and well, they are contributing. Same thing with the seedling nursery. They can learn how to plant and raise seedlings, and then we can have a market stall. We can sell the seedlings at a market stall, and we can also sell the seedlings to a garden nursery, which can then sell them. And again, that can bring money back in as a revenue stream to help pay for the operation. Same thing with the furniture. And it could be You know, if someone comes to the first haven or sanctuary, they're there for a week or two. Social workers come in. They might have they speak with counselors, and it could be like they're at risk of homelessness, so they have to move, whether they have to move or something, change jobs. The people help them find a place to live, and then, you know, if we're fixing up old furniture, then we'll have tables and chairs and cupboards and all that sort of stuff that we can offer, you know, basically free to them. And the people themselves could fix up a table, you know, while they're there. For those few weeks they're there, they could fix up a table, and then when they've got a place to move to, they've got some furniture that they've worked on themselves. And then so you know, we'll have whatever leftover furniture, which would be the bulk of it really. It will be, you know, we get this timber furniture, we fix it up, and then we sell it, you know. So the next stage would be, you know, as we grow, we can add things into our revenue stream to help pay for the operation, because it's going to be expensive, and we want to have professionals. They'll have to take a pay cut to come work for us, but we want to have all the people that can do the right things to help make this happen. So that could involve full-time counsellor. This is in age 2 and 3, so we'd have various professionals. They could be craftsmen that teach people how to do things, like carpenter, woodworker, metal worker, horticulturalist. So again, that's another course. Someone could come in stage 2 and 3. They could be there and be there for a few months, and they're going through the trauma healing. If they've had substance abuse issues, they've cleaned all that stuff out of their system. You know, they're able to start, you know, once they've been processing the trauma, then they can try out different things on the farm, spend a day in the wood workshop, learn how to use a chisel and a handsaw, and then how to mark things out and how to build stuff. And then if they really like that, they could focus on that. If they could learn that, and it could become a trade, you know. Same thing with any of the things on the farm. So the horticulture, someone could do a permaculture course or a horticulture course whilst on the farm, get accreditation and qualifications, and they could then stay and become employed. They could become employed by the organization to help run and facilitate the operation of the garden and the growing with people there. Or they could leave and take those skills and then start their own business or work for someone else. So there's a lot of opportunities for people. The idea is that people not only are healing from trauma, but they're actively being a participant in their life, and you know, casting off their old part, their former life, and finding something new. They could find that they're really good at art by doing some of the art workshops, and then they could then, you know, start producing things, and then we could have a gift shop and we could sell artworks that's made by the trauma survivors, and the money goes back into the organization, but the person who made the art gets a fair equal portion of what they produced, you know. So there's a balance. So it makes it worthwhile for people to want to do that as well, you know. So there's no exploitation, you know. So it really opens up so many different avenues. So for instance, here's an example. Like, so we've got a farm with all this food growing, and we've got all these crops, and then so we can take the food and make jams, pickles, those sorts of things. And so we can have products that we then sell as value added. We can take we can grow onions and then make caramelized onion balsamic vinegar. We can, so we have a bottling area where we have a commercial kitchen where people learn the food handling skills. Then they learn to produce stuff, and then that stuff then becomes products, which then get sold. People buy those products because they see the value in it, and then that money comes back into the operation and to the people who actually produced it. So everyone gets, there's a fairness involved, and so it's bringing back, craftsmanship and the lost arts of what humans have done for so long, throughout history of creating beautiful things, nourishing food, and then it just creates all these opportunities, and we have so many ideas of these revenue streams. And so I've just given you a few examples of what we can do. So awesome. Sixth Sense Amelia's here. Amelia says, good evening, dear friend Luke. About to go to sleep. Before I do, sending you thoughts and blessings from New Zealand with the love hearts. That's beautiful. Much love to you, Amelia. I'll have to start the stream earlier in the afternoon soon so that you can join, because it is a little bit late when I do start it. But I always smile when you're here. I mean, much appreciation, good friend. And yeah, so there's so much research in how effective nature therapy and all these sorts of things are for healing and agency, getting people confidence back, and we're really thinking about how we can do this and integrate and have people go through, like, it all depends on what they've gone through and where they are in life. So they have the initial intake where they come and they just spend a little bit of time to just get used to the place, and they don't have to really do much. Then there's they go through a comfortable sort of working out what they need to do to go through this healing process, and then they can trial some different healing modalities. But then they can also do the practical hands-on work, which is the healing in itself, getting into the garden and growing some food, learning a new skill, being part of a small community, and learning to trust again, learning to be around people again, that sort of thing. Like, there'll be people on. Everyone will have their own individual situation, but there will be a common thing where everyone's there to as much out of it as they possibly can, and to really get their life back that has been taken from them through the trauma and their life difficulties, that these occurrences that have happened in their life. So, some people will be have had childhood trauma. Some people have had adult trauma. Some people have had the trauma and then they've had substance issues and then they've gotten off. Like, the idea is we don't want to have to deal with people getting off drugs or alcohol. Hopefully they can taper off to a point before they come there, so that we don't have to deal with too much difficulties with those things. And then this replaces any need for that sort of dependence, and then we're replacing these things with positive changes that they can do. And it's agency and self-direction. So no one's being forced to do things. There'll be obligation, a certain amount of work every day, because they're there to heal and to be part of the community. There'll be a certain amount that they have to do, but people will have agency of choosing where they want to work. Some people will be limited in what they do, based on constraints, whether it's physical or emotional, mental. Things could be too triggering. Someone might have already worked in horticulture their whole life, so they don't want to work with plants anymore, and they've had bad experiences in working in industrial forms of horticulture, and so even though this is a whole different form, it's too much for them. So they're like, you know what, I want to work in a kitchen and I want to be a chef, or I want to work in the workshop. I want to learn how to fix machines. I want to learn how to build houses. I want to learn how to make cabinetry. And or they might want to learn. There really is so many things. You think about all the things that require a village to live. There's so many roles that could be filled by people learning a new skill to do a particular task. You might have someone who's naturally really good at management and working out how to keep systems running and doing all that stuff like planning, but they've never got that opportunity out in the corporate structure or whatever. But they have those skills, or they've learnt those skills being a parent, and now they can go, okay, well, I'm actually really good at managing all of these things. Maybe I could manage the running of a farm or a section of the farm. So they can actually learn skills in business management, and they can then become, if they want to then go on and become part of the organization, they could specialize in that. And if it's something that they're good at, they already have a passion for, they've learned, they could get skills, accreditation, and then they can then apply that, or they could take those skills and get work out in they could take those skills and get jobs elsewhere, or start their own business. So the idea is that, it's combining healing, intensive healing, and access to the therapy and counseling in a very comfortable and safe place, so that as people go from being in a difficult place, they can slowly regain their sovereignty of themselves, and they get their lives back, and then they can regain trust again in a community or with other people, make friendships again. There's so many things that get damaged when trauma. So I mean, it's a bold plan, it's a big plan, there's a lot to deal with it all, but we're coming up with a system that could potentially help a lot of people, and if we can get it working, then we can replicate it in different places. So one of our ideas that came from our friends in North Queensland is, one of them said how his dream was to be a chef, to have a kitchen and possibly, you know, like a bed and breakfast, something like that. And we were like, that's brilliant. Like, let's try and make that happen, you know, like this could be the first, like as part of stage 2, we could have, like during stage 1, we set this up so it can happen. And then during stage 2, we have the first permanent sanctuary haven, and then far away, there's a satellite sanctuary haven, which is a respite bed and breakfast, run and operated by and set up by people who have been living with conditions in their life that you know, or barriers in their life. And so this could be a beautiful opportunity for them to achieve their dream, but also create a comfortable, calming, healing place that people can go and stay for a night or two, or they could just go during the day or nighttime and have a meal. And you know, this will we'll work on this being like a trial run, but also we want it to continue, you know, but we want to use it as an opportunity to use the idea of giving someone agency for themselves to follow their own dreams and do something for that is for themselves, but also for their community. And that's really awesome. I like that. So we're gonna really work to make that happen. And they're lovely people, and hopefully they become board members. And so you know, there's a lot of opportunities here for us all to everyone here can become involved once we open up a forum, and once we've got the constitution, which is the rules that we create for the not-for-profit, how the structure works, and the core ideals, we'll open up an ideas section on forum where people can put in their ideas of what they think would be a great thing to do, you know. So like, for instance, so we've got a garden and growing food, we've got some animals, we've got water, maybe some aquaculture, we've got workshops for making things, you know. We have a big art section. So, you know, if we've got a property that's got clay on the property, we can make our own plates and cups and saucers. So we can make our own cooking implements on site, or serving dishes, and people can learn how to make pottery, and we can have a gift shop and we can sell these things. You know, if we for instance, this bed and breakfast that's got a restaurant, we can make the plates and the cups and saucers. And so it's like really giving opportunity for people to learn a new skill, but then what they produce can then be shared and used as a greater thing. You know, and that continues with a lot of the classic arts. So casting metal, making things out of metal, whether it's like non-functional art or functional things, making things out of timber, textile art, printing, you know, not so much like printing books, but printing art, you know, like prints that can be put in a frame like artwork and sold. And it's created by someone who's gone through the trauma healing. So these images that they create mean a lot to them. So, and mean a lot to everyone else, because they come from a place of wisdom, of surviving and thriving through adversity, you know. So we've got a lot of planning to do. We've got a lot to do. It's but it's been a good week as far as that, and we've got a lot, you know, in the next you know, few months where we're working towards the Constitution so that we can then open up for ideas, and we'll have like meetings, monthly meetings. People can join from all over the world and share your ideas of what you think would be great, you know. So the idea is that, you know, there are many, it's you're combining the healing, formal healing modalities with skills, and also the act of learning new things and contributing in a small community that's comfortable. And so people at stage 2 and stage 3 it'll get, people can stay for longer stays, which then means that that's when we can actually do trauma healing. Whereas stage 1 is more, we're working out how to help people find new accommodation or go through a change in their life and get the correct help from the different government services that are available. And so the thing that happens with trauma is you can be hopeless. You can feel hopeless. It can be hopeless because there's who to talk to. How do you get help? You can get help by calling places and seeking it out. But if people knew about this place where they could go and get guidance to actually get to that next stage. So yeah, it's different. At the different stages will increase what we can provide. And you know, ideally it's at a low cost or free and subsidized by the government. So and through private philanthropy. And that's where the revenue streams come in. If the people can produce stuff, they can be paying for their own healing therapy that they're getting for free, but they're helping to make it happen by keeping it all running. So it'd be positive all around. And you know, as a not-for-profit, there's a lot of bad press because of charities and not-for-profits not delivering what they say they're going to do. And so we want to make sure that, you know, we're very open about everything, financials, our plans, you know, and just the operations, so that people know what's going on. So if people donate to us, then they know that the funds aren't getting wasted, that they're really getting spent all on things that directly get used and help the running of the whole thing. So I'll stop talking there because I have been going on for a while, but yeah, it's exciting because there's so much. So you know, and there's so many details to work out, you know, how to actually allow this to run smoothly without, you know, anything becoming a problem. So we'll work on as much of it as we can, and then trial things out and see how things work, and then so yeah, it's been a good day with that meeting this morning, and we're looking forward to continuing with everything. And there's been a lot of support here on the channel for this, and we're going to make it happen. We are. So, and we're gonna get as much help from the organisations that do good work, to if they can share with us what they do. We're not trying to compete with any particular thing. So hopefully we can reach out to all these other sort of charities and organisations that really help people through things, and they can share with us their experience, and we can then apply that to greater our knowledge, so that as we go through the process of making this happen, we've got the best chance possible. And yeah, really appreciate all the support here. There's a lot of people who've expressed how much they want to help in whatever they can, and whatever way they can. And we're gonna, we're really gonna, we're gonna utilize that help that's been offered. So I've just been talking for so long. Hopefully, it might be a couple of months before I bring this topic up again, just because give it a bit of time until we get to the next stage. So it is exciting to see something like this could happen. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. We need this. The world needs this. So and people who've experienced complex trauma and extreme situations in their life, wouldn't it be great to have something like this, just so that you don't get stuck for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. You can work through things, and when they get to a point, and really work through it. So I think I've been talking so long. It's I don't know what to talk about now, to change topic or something like that. So but thanks everyone tonight for being here, and I don't know, these streams, I don't know how long it's going to go for. Sometimes we chat for hours and hours, and other times it's just a couple of hours. I don't know. Tonight, it was a lot for me to go through all that stuff, and I hope I was, explaining it because it's at a very it's at the concept stage where we're working out what we want to do, and yeah, so I look forward to getting back to doing a few more streams this week. I've been saying that for a few weeks, but yeah, now I've got the garden plot. I'm gonna do some streams from down at my garden, cleaning up the garden and getting it ready for planting stuff. So that's going to be fun. So you'll be able to join me for that. I won't necessarily be able to read the chat while I'm doing that because it'll be bright in the sunshine and I'll be busy digging holes and planting stuff. But I'll be talking to the camera and explaining what I'm doing, and so there'll be times where I can do that. And yeah, I'm going to work on the guitar. I've been meaning on doing that for a while, and yeah. Yeah, I'll probably end the stream here just because. Well, I don't know. We'll give it a few more minutes. A few viewers dropped out, and I don't know if that's YouTube or I was talking in the wrong. So I think sometimes when I talk about this stuff, it can be a lot. Where I'm talking about lots of topics and I'm jumping around. So my apologies for that. If it was a bit much, but it was exciting to go through all this stuff and explain the concept, what we're working on. And it's going to take years, but we're working on it, and it's for good reason. So I appreciate you all. So it's coming up to 1 year of me doing live streams in a couple of weeks. Actually, even next week. I'll check the calendar. No, it's over a week. I think it's the 26th of June was when I started streaming. I'll just check that now. So I'll set up a live stream for that, so that yeah, hopefully people can join. 22nd. So look, there you go. It was winter solstice last year. So next Sunday is 1 year anniversary of my live streams. So I will set up a thing for that, and hopefully people can join, and we can have a good time. Maybe I'll do an extra long stream that day. I might start it early in the afternoon here, so it's better for America, and then it goes into being good for UK and Europe, and then into good time in the evening for Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, this time next Sunday there'll be a special 1 year of doing these streams, And when I look back at what I've achieved quite a lot in this year as far as healing myself, learning about trauma, and processing a lot, meeting new friends, all you people here. It's been amazing. So it's going to be exciting. And so I look forward to catching up during the week when I do some streams down at the garden when I'm working on a guitar here, and then hopefully on the weekend, Friday and Saturday, chess matches over the streams, and then on the Sunday, extra special anniversary stream. So it's going to be fun. I look forward to it, all of it, because it really shows if I can get back to this stuff this week. If I can do all this stuff, that's going to be really awesome. So that's what I'm aiming to achieve. And so, yeah, much love to everyone. You know, I appreciate you all. It's a really great community here, and you know, it's been so beneficial for me, and just making these friendships. You know, I appreciate you all so much. I hope what I'm doing is helping people out there, helping yourself in some way. And I know I'm getting so much out of the support I'm getting from everyone here, and people sharing what they do to heal and improve their lives, all that. Find joy in life, doing things that appreciate, you know, and so, you know. Oh yeah, someone's joined again. That's awesome. I was thinking of ending the stream soon, but you know, if we can get a conversation going, I'm happy to keep going. So we'll just see what, you know. If not, like, you know, I'll because I'll be doing streams all through the week. You know, if this one finishes up soon, then you know there'll be plenty of streams during the week. Maybe like 5 or 6 when you think about it. So that's a great way to celebrate doing these streams. 1 year anniversary of that. So, you know, one of the things I really appreciate is what the interaction with the chat and you know, people being amazing. So yeah, much love everyone, and I look forward to catching up during the week. It's been an amazing day today. Lots of things got achieved. So, basically says we appreciate that too, Luke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Basic. You're a legend. Like I said, we're going to hopefully have these chess matches on the weekend, Friday, Saturday. So I'll organise it during the week, and I'll get around to it this time. It's just been like I've been trying to do too much in the last few weeks, and you know. But yeah, this is going to be really fun. I'm going to make something of you know, getting busy again, doing lots. So thanks everyone who's been here tonight, and I look forward to catching up again soon. Cheers.